Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. The following video will contain spoilers from the movie Captain America Civil War. So if you don't want anything spoiled or ruined for you, stop watching now! For everybody else here, hey guys, Dave here. Okay, I have had people asking, what did I think about this movie? They were looking forward to what I had to say about it even before I saw the darn thing. Well, don't let the shirt fool you. I am definitely on Team Cap. It's just that I don't have any Captain America shirts, and I really need to rectify that in the future. But anyway, so Chris Evans, if you're hearing me, hey. Anyway, all right. Okay. Guys, I'm going to give you my honest opinion and point out some various things here. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of things that you're not going to like when I say it. It's just going to be true. But I have to give my honest thoughts, opinions, and perspective. So, here we go. Captain America Civil War. I think it should have been retitled Tony Stark and His Sense of Guilt Destroy the Avengers. Because that's exactly what happens. I mean, the word of the day here, it eventually comes down to hypocrisy. Here's what I'm getting at. I remember a scene in Iron Man 2 that I've pointed out, some friends and I have pointed out, and it's absolutely mind-boggling that we've gotten to this point here. It started by Iron Man 2, he was at a congressional hearing where the government wanted to seize control of the Iron Man weapon. Tony Stark got up there and said, I am Iron Man, the suit and I are one. You can't have it. But I did the next best thing. I just privatized world peace. He went from that to, in a few movies, going to, we have to accept limitations or we're no better than the bad guys. Now, let me get going here. It all starts off with a small part of the Avengers that we saw at the end of Age of Ultron going after Crossbones, trying to make a hit in a small African city. We thought he was going after the police station. It turns out he's actually going after the local disease control thing, trying to get a hold of a very nasty virus, and more than likely he has a bidder for it. So, a lot of action going on in there. And at one point, with Crossbones looking like he's about ready to die, he tells about Winter Soldier's, the Bucky to Cap, hits a button, prepares to explode. Scarlet Witch catches the firebomb, uses her powers to get it up away from Cap, who would have been consumed by it otherwise, and doesn't quite get up high enough. The bomb goes off, and it takes out a building. That building has a lot of innocent people in it, including peace workers from Wakanda. Yeah, not good. So, Wanda's very guilt-ridden. Cap tries to help with that. We also see a flashback to something that happened in 1991. This keeps on coming back and forth. Trust me, it's going to get nailed over the frickin' head. Winter Soldier takes out somebody in 1991. We'll get back to that. So, eventually, Senator Thunderbolt Ross ends up meeting with the Avengers after a public outcry. Innocent people from Wakanda died. The Wakandan vibranium was stolen to create what happened in Sokovia. And even Tony comes out doing a little psychoanalysis thing, trying to get past his demons, which that's another bit of foreshadowing, at MIT, with eventually going into one of his private memories. Very well done, I thought. But we start to see things are breaking down. Although he's being a big philanthropist, he and Pepper are apparently on the outs. And a woman who lost her son because of the Avengers guilt trips him at this point. Which this actually is good. This matches the comic books, at least in somewhat. The comic book was about the Superhuman Registration Act, about young, stupid, reckless heroes that got an entire town killed. Which they kind of try to do here, but they are hating on Wanda. Even though they can't use the term mutant in this franchise, a lot of that subconscious fear that she is a powerful woman freaks people the hell out. I'm not even kidding. So, they want to sign these things called the Sokovia Accords, basically saying that the United Nations will tell the Avengers that they're the ones controlling them and tell them what to do, where to go, and what not to do. Which, guilt-ridden Tony feels like this is good. Several other people are saying yay, other people are saying nay. And Steve is like, if they tell us who the bad guys are, then we can't go in and help people that need it. I may not be perfect, but we're the best control for what we need to do. And, this is part of the reason I like Cap. Here's something else that ticks me off, though. I can't help but compare what happened in the movie Civil War to the original comic book Civil War. That comic book series was magnificent. They were actually fighting over something truly great. And this, I can't help but remember that this is a watered-down thing that Marvel, aka Disney, pushed originally because they wanted to compete head-to-head with Batman vs. Superman on the same opening weekend. Warner Brothers said, no, we're not going to play your freaking game. We're going to move it, so you guys do whatever you can. We can both make money. I still would have thought it would have been a great double feature. In fact, Batman vs. Superman is still at my local theater now, so I might do that too. Who knows? Anyway. So, Peggy Carter finally dies. We get to find out that Sharon Carter, Agent 13, is her niece in here, not daughter, because that wouldn't have made any sense at all. One of my favorite parts of the Civil War comic was a speech that Captain America gave to Spider-Man, who originally was on Tony's side, Iron Man's. But after his family got in jeopardy and Tony screwed him over, he jumped ship over to Captain America's team. Cap gave a fantastic speech about what it means to stand up for what you believe in. That speech, I was afraid, wouldn't get in the movie at all. It did, as a watered-down part that Sharon Carter read for Peggy Carter's eulogy to represent what Agent Carter's views were. It doesn't even come from Cap. And I'm sorry, that loses significance. Sure, it's implied. Yeah, they see we're close, and I could see where he would think that and that, but no. It got nerfed. It got freaking nerfed, and I am not happy about that. So, while this is going on, the Sokovia Accords are about to get signed, and what appears to be Bucky, the Winter Soldier, apparently bombed where we're going to do it. And this unfortunately takes out King T'Chaka of Wakanda. Prince T'Challa tries to save him, but unfortunately it doesn't really work. Spoiler. And a lot of people were upset, and they're trying to do a manhunt for Bucky badly. Eventually Cap and his team manages to find him first, but everyone else is pretty much out to shoot to kill him. It's very action-packed. There's a big chase scene. We get the introduction of the Black Panther in here, which definitely very badass, very good fighter, very dogged. He's definitely someone that just will not give up, and I can respect that. It goes through a very high-speed chase, eventually stops downtown traffic in Germany, I believe. And eventually Bucky's captured, Cap, Falcon, they're captured. T'Challa eventually. And instead of ending up in a jail cell, their stuff gets taken away. So they're going to be in an office rather than a cell, which, we get to see also parallels while this is going on. Apparently, Wanda tries to go out to go get some just ingredients for groceries. Vision won't let her leave. She's essentially on lockdown. She can't leave the house, basically. And Wanda's not happy about it. It starts to suck. So, eventually, we get to find out about this mysterious guy. Turns out to be Helmut Zemo. I can't call him Baron because he's a colonel from the Sokovian army and not even a royal fricking title in here. Which, that ticks me off. Because, so far, Baron Zemo in the comics is one of Cap's greatest enemies. And in here, he'd actually be one of the greatest cinematic enemies of the Avengers, or Avengers Light in this case. But they're still nerfing him. They don't give him his title. They don't give him his props. And I'll get more back to that later. So, All of this is manipulating him, try to get information and to do something to Bucky. He manages to give him the Winter Soldier programming. He goes into a berserk rage, tries to break out. A lot of people are hurt. We get a lot of big fight scenes and stuff. We get to see Tony change his wristwatch into a power glove because big chase, big fight thing. Eventually, after a helicopter crash, Winter Soldier gets away. Cap and Falcon are going after him. The Avengers are trying to decide what they're going to do to try to stop him and whatnot. It gets bad. So now teams start to get, essentially listed here. Eventually Hawkeye breaks in to distract Vision to get Wanda out of there. Eventually, when she's hesitant at first, but she decides, you know what, I'm done being a prisoner, and manipulates the crap out of Vision's density controlling powers. They escape. So now they're forming teams and stuff, trying to find them. Team Tony is trying to get a hold of Spider-Man, of all people, to help out the team to take on Cap. They got 36 hours to find him. We have a cute little thing in there where Tony Stark meets Peter Parker, very Batman meets Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond kind of thing. Yes, I went there. Kind of cute, but it was interesting. So we've got that assembling, and we have the other side assembling as well. So we end up getting, Hawkeye, even Ant-Man in here, that's pretty cool. So we find out that the information that this guy wanted to get from Winter Soldier was that there was another super soldier thing, coming back once again from the 1991 thing. 5 more super soldiers were created, Soviet super soldiers, that were hard to control and even more powerful than he was. They're frozen back where he was, and that's what Helmut was after. So they're on a race to Siberia to try to stop him, and what happens? We got the Secret Avengers, aka Cap's team, versus the Mighty Avengers, Iron Man's team, facing off at an airport that's been abandoned. So we get the fight scene. I mean, it's a lot of fight scenes, but eventually this is exactly what Tony was. Tony was trying to stop what Cap has been saying all along. We're trying to stop the actual bad guy. No one will listen, not him, nothing. So they fight for the sake of fighting. Because fight you, that's why. Let's fighting love, because I fight so. And technically I think even the Hawkeye and Black Widow are kung fu fighting. So there's all that. A lot of good special effects. It was definitely very frenetic, and I can see why some people might want to go back to the theater to see it again. Because so much happened, you're probably going to miss some stuff. Seeing Ant-Man go to Giant Man in the middle of the thing to actually take on somebody like War Machine and stuff like that, pretty cool. We get to see all pretty much getting taken care of here. Wanda does what she can to try to get Cap and Bucky a chance to get the Quinjet and get out of there. She gets definitely captured. At one point, they're getting away in the jet. Black Widow actually turns and stops Black Panther from killing Bucky. The jet's taken off. Iron Man and War Machine are in pursuit. Falcon's coming up. Vision tries to mind blast, or just bee blast the Falcon. Misses, hits War Machine. He crashes. This is what we thought might be a death scene. Well, he lives, thankfully, but several of his vertebrae are fractured and he could be paralyzed. But while this is all going on, a body is found in the hotel room where Zemo was. We find out who he was. We find out that not only was he disguised as the guy that get into Bucky's head, but also disguised as Bucky himself. So he's the one that did the bomb. So Bucky's innocent. Yay! What's this? Tony admits he's wrong? So he goes to the high-tech prison, the Raft. So we see all the guys captured and stuff, and Wanda. Everyone else is captured in what? She's wearing a power-inhibiting collar and in a straitjacket. I described that this poor girl got the worst treatment out of everybody because it's all about fear about a strong, powerful woman who happens to look like Amy Lee from Evanescence, in my opinion. But they're scared to death of her. And they might as well be throwing the M word around for mutant because that's how scared they were. No one else was that level of confined. So she's freaking out. She feels bad enough as it is. All of these things are happening around her because of her, because they're afraid of someone going off and hurting things like she did, even though she did the best she could and tried to avoid innocent lives getting killed. And she's the only one with a freaking power-inhibiting collar and straitjacket. This poor woman gets hosed worse than a 1950s civil rights activist, I'm telling you, right now. I'm not even joking. So Tony tries to talk to Thunderbolt Ross. He's not having it. Manages to cut the feed, get some information from Falcon where they're going. And Falcon says, go there as a friend. Don't go as anything else. So he manages to suit up, take off. So we get there, and it's Cap and Bucky. And finally, even Tony shows up, but he's coming in peace, supposedly. And Helmut Zemo, this is where they nerf him again. Does he free the super soldiers? No. He kills them by shooting them in the head in their cryogenic prison. Well, maybe he's getting a hold of their blood and pumping it through his own body so he can become a super soldier too, right? No. His whole plan essentially was he wanted to start a slap fight between the Avengers because he couldn't take them on himself. But since he lost everybody in Sokovia and the Avengers just left, he wanted revenge on them. So since the Avengers love to fight, because fight you, that's why. I mean, Thor and Hulk like to spar. All these, they love to fight. So all you got to do, as which you've seen with the last two Avengers movies, if you mess with the Avengers' heads, they lose focus and they end up turning on each other. Easy enough to do. So he's just following the pattern that Marvel and Disney have set forth in their movies. Screw with them. They'll fight each other just because let's fighting. That's why. So we find out the big thing that the whole lead up to the 1991 turns out during the time that he was brainwashed as the Winter Soldier, Bucky did do something in 1991. He stole the super soldier serum from the back of a car that he had wrecked that was being driven by Howard Stark and his wife. So he showed Tony Stark the video to make him flip out. He blasted him. He ready to take him out. And then he asks Cap, did you know? And sure, I can see where they're trying to paint Tony as sympathetic and stuff like that here. And he's gone through a crap load. But he's no Bruce Wayne. He's no Batman, in my humble opinion. And what happens? He asks Steve the thing. Now, normally you don't think that Captain Rogers is having any secrets. And he admitted that, yes, he knew. He was trying to save Tony from that. And that's where the fight goes on. These guys are trying to kill each other. Even a Black Panther sneaks in behind him, finds out that, okay, Bucky didn't kill his father and all those other people. It was Zemo. So while Cap and Bucky are fighting Iron Man, which, wasn't Thor able to go toe-to-toe with Iron Man and not doing it? They're taking him apart piece by piece here. So Black Panther goes and gets more of a confession out of Helmut Zemo. He tried to cap himself. Black Panther stops him, puts him in a headlock, and says, no, world of the living's not done with you yet. And realize, okay, vengeance is not necessarily a great path, so I'm going to get out of this now. So Bucky loses his prosthetic arm to a repulsor blast. Cap ends up digging his shield into Iron Man's chest plate, knocking out the arc reactor. And he starts walking away trying to take care of his friend. And here comes Stark saying, that shield doesn't belong to you. That's government property. You don't deserve it. He's like, okay, whatever. Leaves the shield, takes his friend. You don't care. I mean, suddenly, Captain America might as well be Honey Badger. Captain America don't care. Captain America don't give a crap. So we end up also, people are trying to recover. We get a note from Steve setting up, which is addressed to Tony Stank, which is hysterical. And essentially we see that Steve breaks into the raft, gets his people out, and says, look, you're doing what you thought was right. I got to respect that, but I'm going to do what I think is right here, and I'm going to get my people out. If you need us, call us. So The Secret Avengers is born, while the Mighty Avengers is over here. And apparently, secrets are bad, okay? Because when secrets come out, they're going to make everybody fight each other. So don't keep secrets, okay? Need I remind everybody, none of the Avengers know that Agent Phil Coulson is alive again? Please. So, I mean, it was a good movie, not a great movie. And look, Captain America Civil War was okay. Captain America the Winter Soldier was one of my all-time favorite superhero movies ever. It was great. It was a political thriller. It was intelligent. It worked on so many levels. Captain America Civil War was thrown together to compete specifically with the superhero fight of Batman vs. Superman, which, in my humble opinion, had more heart, more depth. Okay, sure, Civil War had more laughs. It had more heroes fighting. It had more action sequences. Plenty of action sequences, which will make people want to go back and see it again. Okay. It just still seems a little formulaic, because now the Avengers are disassembled, thanks to the Scarlet Witch and Tony's sense of freaking fear. And now, all this other stuff's going to be coming, and Thanos is coming, so the next Avengers movies are going to have where they're going to have to reassemble. Right, like, I don't know that's going to happen. Please. In my opinion, it's not a competition between Captain America Civil War and Batman vs. Superman, because I'm comparing Captain America Civil War with Marvel's Civil War in the comics. The story in the comics was better. It was far more in-depth, more people lost, and it was a bigger thing than everyone's scared to death of what the Scarlet Witch can do, so let's lock her up. That's my opinion. What do I think about Captain America Civil War over Batman vs. Superman? Civil War was good. It was a good movie, but not a great movie. Sure, you're going to get more laughs. You're going to get plenty of action. But for the in-depth thing, I still liked Batman vs. Superman better. It was a grittier, hardcore movie that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I like it. I liked both of them. If you're going to ask me which one I like better, I'm going to go with Batman vs. Superman. This is a movie, Civil War was good. And it did try to develop certain things with Tony and whatnot, but it still felt not as in-depth. They tried. They tried to shoehorn so much stuff in my opinion, that it felt a bit forced, and eventually the Avengers got broken up and everyone fought and War Machine nearly died over nothing. They talked about trying to accountability for superheroes. Sure, they wanted to take accountability themselves. They're talking as if Scarlet Witch didn't feel bad. She felt bad that innocent people died and wanted to make up for it, but then all of a sudden was a prisoner in her own home, stood up for what she thought was right, trying to stop something even worse from happening by the schmuck that killed all those people in the first place, and she gets locked up and like she's in the mental asylum. Everyone else? No. Jumpsuit, big old bars. Her, jumpsuit, metal bars, electric shock collar, and a freaking straitjacket. They are scared to death of the Scarlet Witch. What? Is she... was she about the same weight as Scarlett Johansson or so, and they're more scared of her? Right. Apparently they're scared of a really strong, powerful female. I hope that Marvel never visits the DC Universe, because a certain Amazon will scare the crap out of them. My opinion. So, what did you guys think of Captain America Civil War? Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And I know I'm going to, well, most things that everyone has to say. I know I'm going to be hearing a lot of crap from a lot of fanboys. I'm sorry, it was a good movie, but not great. I'm not swallowing the Disney Kool-Aid here. It all comes down to the whole thing. Are you with the government, or are you with the people? Are you prepared to have someone else with power and authority tell you what to do and who to fight? And that was represented by Tony Stark, who, in a weird way, I mean, if that's not an analogy for the model that the Disney Corporation has gotten, I don't know what is. So, what do you guys think? Please talk to me. Until next time, Dave signing off. Peace. Yum yum.